Hello, CCA families. This is going to be part 2 of our Career Pathways episode. If you haven't checked out part 1, please go do so. It will certainly give you an idea of what our Career Pathways program is all about and some of the opportunities that it provides to our students as far as internships and planning their career. But this is actually part 2. Myself and Alan went down and met with Ed Ferderbar of Marketechs, and Ed was gracious enough to host a CCA student for an internship. And so we talked to Ed about what that experience was like. So with that, let's get on with the podcast. All right, hello, and welcome to this episode of the We Are CCA podcast. This is Jake Ramsey, one of the hosts, and back by popular demand is Alan Fernandez. Alan, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be back with you guys.
Don't call it a comeback. He's been here. We just making his first appearance in a little while.
A little bit of a hiatus.
So we are here today. This is part 2 of the episode that we previously released with Charlene and Barry. Talking about the Career Pathways program. So today we have the absolute pleasure to be sitting down with one of the gentlemen who has decided to host one of our CCA students as an intern, and we're just going to talk to him about what that experience was like. So Ed, if you want to introduce yourself to everybody here and kind of talk a little bit about Marketechs and what you guys do here.
Sure. My name is Ed Ferderbar, and really pleased to get a chance to do this. It was a great opportunity for us, and really excited about what you guys are doing. So thanks for coming in today. Marketechs Design Studio was a business that was around for about 55 years. We purchased it, a business partner and I, about 10 years ago. And what we do here is we try to, from a branding perspective, take your ideas and your concepts, accompany who you are, and we try to visually display that for you. We do that in three different areas. One area would be trade show booths for large corporate clients. So we will design and fabricate that trade show booth and then also manage all of the pieces to get it to your trade show location, bring it back here, and then store it for you as well. The second area that we work on are small museums in the local area, in the DC area. Again, designing, fabricating, doing all the graphic work. And the third area that we're very excited about and that most of our folks really enjoy, we do branding within colleges and universities. And what that really means, again, it's taking your concepts, your ideas, and visually displaying them in spaces throughout the college or university. And it's something exciting for prospective students, as your high school students are going to be moving on to college and they want to evaluate different colleges. It's really interesting and exciting for them to see the branding work that we do. And in addition to that, your alumni coming back enjoy seeing the different work in the spaces, as do the employees who work at the college and university.
We also have Charlene with us. So hi, Charlene.
Hello.
She's going to be participating today as well. Ed, I just want to say thank you from a
Sure.
CCA staff perspective. Thank you so much for being willing and eager to host one of our students for the internship here. What was the overall experience like? We'll get into the details of it, but what overall your impression of CCA students and the internship opportunity? How did it go overall?
Sure. Overall, it was fantastic. I mean, Alana was professional, and she's only a junior in high school. She was very polite and kind and very outgoing. And I know it's hard when you come into a business where people are working day in, day out, and you're a junior in high school. It can be somewhat intimidating or overwhelming. But she was just very pleasant, very kind. It was great to meet. I knew her father very well. That's how the connection was created. But didn't know her mom that well. It was great to just spend time with the family, and overall we really just enjoyed it. And she didn't get in the way here. She truly was someone that when she left, the folks had enjoyed having her with them.
Charlene, how did it all come to be? How through the Career Pathways program, like how did it work where Alana got this opportunity with Ed and his company here?
Sure. We have assignments where you start searching around and you can ask your family members and friends. You can search in your community to see if there are places of interest to you. And I also have a list of resources that we're expanding. Constantly, we're getting bigger and bigger as we go. We're growing. So it's a teamwork kind of approach. So students look and I also help, and we find a good place to learn, whether it's a job shadow or an internship. What I'm finding is that we have a lot of very talented families and friends of families. And so if we reach out to them, there are people in our lives that we know already, and it's just a matter of asking. And that's a fabulous connection. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for this
welcome.
opportunity.
Yeah, Ed, I'm very curious from the standpoint of a business, what were some factors or questions you may have had when being approached about doing an internship? Sort of kind of deciphering, is this something that we would like to do? What are some of our goals for working with the student, that are beneficial to both us and the student's development? Could you talk a bit about some of those thoughts that you and your partners here at Marketechs had in assessing Alana's candidacy for being an intern here?
Yeah, I think just overall, just overall, trying to figure out whether or not this was something we wanted to do as an organization when we were first approached. As I said, I knew Alana's dad. He actually was a pastor who counseled my wife and I before we got married. So it kind of goes back a little ways, and we just really enjoyed John and his family. So when he asked, I was right away ready to do whatever he had asked, quite honestly. But then as I started to look into the details, and I thought, boy, we've got to run a day-to-day business. How am I going to spend or find 40 hours worth of valuable time for Alana? There was a little concern, quite honestly, to say, how do we fit this in? Mm-hmm. But after talking with Charlene and talking to John, Alana's father, a little further, realized that this was more of a shadowing. This was more of when you're in high school, and we were talking a little before we started this today, that when you're in high school, you don't know what you don't know. And so just allowing her to shadow was something we thought would be helpful. And we put a little schedule together with all of our designers because she had an interest in graphic design. So she was going to spend an hour with one designer, an hour with another. One of the visits, she was going to come in and just go over scheduling. Another, she was going to be out in the production shop. So it really didn't impact us in a negative way at all. And it was kind of neat for our folks to get a chance to share what they do with a high school student. I think that all of them really just enjoyed that opportunity.
Was she able to share some of the SketchUp skills that she has? She was in an architectural competition last year. And I think when we first met, that was one thing that you were interested in, and I was hoping she could help you with that.
Yeah, it was interesting because we use a 3D program called Strata, we're switching to SketchUp, and our three designers were going to sit down and spend time learning that program. And it was perfect time because Alana knew the program as well, so she could come in. I wasn't here for that review, but I know it was kind of cool because she was not blind coming into this. She knew a little more than they did actually about the program they were trying to learn. So that's a cool experience.
Cool because I know she was nervous. You come in and starting something new and not knowing a whole lot, but then that gave her something she could also share, and that was a neat thing.
I think it was, yeah.
That's awesome. And so, with that, it's just really cool to hear that whole aspect of outside of her being taught something, it sounds like you guys maybe learn a little bit from her too. So there's this sort of give and take that I think a lot of students, especially in high school, are a bit scared of. Not in the sense that they want to come and show someone something, but how collaborative or how transparent is where I could intern at. Because as we all know, as we've had various different seasons in life, we're always learning from the most unexpected of people sometimes. So it's really cool to hear that you guys even had that little bit of give and take where she kind of even had some ownership a bit more ownership in her internship here, and that, oh wow, I'm getting some value here. This is really cool to experience.
Yeah. It was really good to know that she was able to provide some of that. And most of our folks here have kids of their own, and it was just a neat experience for them to take a look at, here's someone coming in, how can I help them? And I not only did I not get pushback to say, oh, I don't have time for this, most of these, I would say all of them, actually were excited about it and looked forward to sharing what they do with her because they thought about their own kids someday as well. needing to gain some experience and knowledge.
Have you gotten any feedback from your staff about kind of the overall experience of having an intern sitting in their office and kind of watching them work and what that was like?
Yeah, I did. I actually went and asked them because for me, I thought it was going to be a little uncomfortable for them. And yet when I spoke to each of the designers, they said that it actually went real well, that she was comfortable asking a few questions and they were comfortable explaining what they did, because normally a designer isn't doing much talking as they're designing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just thinking and evaluating, but they took the time and they said it was kind of interesting to give that a shot and walk through that with her.
What types of stuff did she do? Like the hands? I mean, obviously the observation is a big deal for sure. Was there any kind of hands-on projects or anything that she worked on that you gave her that opportunity to have that experience?
Yeah, I believe, and I wasn't here when she was out in the graphic production shop, but she was out there for a day or two, and that's where we're actually printing on a roll-to-roll printer. Then we have to laminate the material, we have to trim it and cut it, and I think she got some opportunity out there to actually do some physical work and just help out in that space. Yeah.
So what was it like then for an intern to have learning experiences, maybe in the sense of sort of asking questions and maybe even learning from a mistake that was done, or maybe, a shortcoming? What was sort of that experience like? Not to put Alana on the spot here or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
but just in that professional development, you could say, and
Right.
not just improving and honing on your strengths, but also addressing and getting ways to overcome weaknesses too, or even realize, oh, I didn't know that this is something that I could put a lot more work into, or
Right.
that could have a lot of improvement that'd be very beneficial.
What I believe she really got out of that was, for example, some of the programs that our folks
Mm-hmm.
use, the Strata, the SketchUp, the Adobe Suite.
Yeah.
She just got into Adobe and just was starting to understand it, and I believe by being here, she really understood the level of excellence that you've got to achieve in that program to use it and to use it effectively. Our folks now, they're at that level where, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, most of them are at 10 with the Adobe Suite. You've got to be that way so that when you use it, it's just an extension of your being. It's not something you don't have to think about, how do I do this command? And I think she saw that, boy, I've really got to get good at this before I can even think about designing.
That's something I think too that's important for students to learn, is that you're not an expert right out of the bat. It's right out of the gate. It takes time. It takes a process of repetition of using these things where it becomes almost where you kind of unconsciously start doing some of the key commands and being able to stroke the pen in the right way or whatever is for any student really. Do you find that this, like an internship opportunity like you provided to Alana, overall kind of allows them to see that they've got a long way to go yet before they're ready to take that leap?
Yeah, I think it's, we talked earlier about it being, you don't know what you don't know. And I think an intern program does a fantastic job of giving you that opportunity to not only understand the career path you might be going after, but just what does it mean to be in a business environment, and what does that look like, and what does that entail? And I think it really gives them that opportunity. As you and I were talking earlier, sometimes you don't like what you did, and then that also tells you this is probably not the right career path for me. We have 6 kids, as I told you earlier, and we've talked to all of them throughout the years saying you've got to try something, because you really don't know what it means to be a photographer or to be a designer or to be an engineer or be an architect. You've got to get out there and experience it. And hopefully that's what Alana saw when she was here. She got a feel for, what does a graphic designer do? What's their day look like? Do I want to do that? Do I want to be in that type of career field as she moves forward?
Yeah, and probably if you can creatively work, but also collaborate on a team to meet a goal and a deadline, that's a whole nother thing than just doing work on your own.
That's a great point. As many designers might think, or even anyone going into a career path may feel, this is all I do and I do it by myself. But majority of the time you're working with others, and you need to learn how to deal with all those personalities. And she got to meet about 5 or 6 different personality types between the 4 designers and the graphic production folks and myself, and I think she even met with a project manager or 2. So she had to interact, and she had to ask questions and maybe get out of her comfort zone a little bit, and I hope that was helpful to her as well.
Yeah, I think that that's such a beneficial resource for interns, especially as, a business like this, the designers, where I had a lot of friends in college who were designers, graphic, 3-dimensional, and to say the least, they could, most times, or a lot of times, they are a very eclectic group of people, socially, with their personalities.
Correct.
And those that...
It's very
what are you saying about us, Alan, artists?
I
very
identify...
polite, yeah.
I identify as a creative, and so I would consider myself eclectic too, which is a plus. If you're eclectic, I love you guys. But you have very eclectic personalities, and then you may have some personalities that may not be that way. So you're learning a lot of cross communication or cross culture communication. In that a business is not just going to have one type of person, so you kind of develop, methodologies to approaching different kinds of people that even do different work. So somebody that works in a business office working the numbers, is going to think differently on a day-to-day basis than somebody who is designing. Not to say that a numbers person is not creative, by no stretch is that true, but there's different day-to-day methodologies and thinking that, as a member of the team, you have to kind of be cognizant of, to know, okay, when I approach this person for this idea and this collaboration, I have to approach it in a way that they could understand best based on their day-to-day thinking.
Right. And sometimes that happens on the fly. I mean, I would take Alana into someone's office, so she has no idea what their personality style is or what they're like, but she's got to adjust to that. And I think that in and of itself is a great experience for someone in high school.
So, last question. Would you do this again? So would you be willing to host another student or provide this opportunity to another student if they sought it out? And 2, if you would, what would be some things that you may do differently with the next intern around?
Sure. I would do this again. I think it's a great opportunity for us to give back somewhat. We donate a lot of money. We donate a lot of time to different events in the area and to different clients. But this was really the first time that we took a high school student in and hopefully gave them something that was of value when they left. Would definitely do it again. The thing I might do differently next time is I enjoyed the meeting with Alana and her family. I'd probably spend a little more time on that, just to understand from the family what they'd like to get out of it for their student. Only because, again, the student doesn't know what they don't know. So let's let the family express a little bit more what they'd like to achieve. The second thing I'd probably do is to create a little more of a project for her. Like you talked about the hands-on. We didn't do a lot of that. We were at a pretty busy time and didn't really think through. We thought it was more of an observation, which I think was very beneficial to her. But I would also add a specific project. And the last thing I'd do, I'd probably have her observe and spend a little more time in the areas that she may not have shown an interest in just because she's here. Why not let her spend time with our warehouse manager for a half an hour or spend time with one of our fabricators for a half an hour? Even though that may not be a career path, it gives her a taste for what's out there.
Well, like I said at the beginning, and I'm going to conclude with it as well. Thank you so much for extending that opportunity to one of our students. Hopefully there's others that want to, we might keep you busy with interns.
Sounds good.
But I think it's great. I think it's something that, like you said, it gives a little bit back to the community around you. It provides an opportunity for a student who, should have that opportunity. Right. And I'm sure it was a worthwhile experience for her. Sounds like you guys got something out of it as well. And so just on behalf of myself and everybody here at CCA, thank you so much for providing that opportunity.
Yep, our pleasure.
Alan, any concluding thoughts?
Just going to back that up and thank you as well. It was a great pleasure talking with you, seeing the facility, and hearing about the really enriching experience that you helped provide collaboratively, for one of our students. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Our pleasure.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know that Alan and myself and Charlene all had a great time meeting with Ed and talking with him about Marketechs and about the opportunity of an internship that he provided to a CCA student. And can't tell you enough how much we appreciate him kind of opening up the doors and to one of our students and providing that opportunity. If you'd like to learn more about Ed's experience and what he went through and the positive experience that he had with hosting a CCA student for an internship, please check out our blog at www.ccaeducate.me, and remember that we are CCA.